Pear Deck is a cool tech tool that you can use within your PowerPoint presentations to make them interactive and to embed formative assessment for your students. So this helps with engagement, and even using it in remote learning situations, you can monitor your students' progress, how they're doing, how they're interacting with the content in real time. And there's a couple different models. There's a free version and then there's a premium version. Currently, Pear Deck has an offer where you can try out the premium version. If you go to their website, you can see different ways that you can integrate all of the pieces and how it all works within PowerPoint. But when you set up an account, if you click on Remote Learning Resources, it's going to pull up this site here, and there is a Try Pear Deck link that you can try out that Pear Deck Premium features for free. So let's take a look at what Pear Deck has to offer and how it can be used. The presentation that you're currently viewing and working through is actually being housed through Pear Deck. So all of the interactive pieces and slides that we're in and the login that you use to get into Pear Deck gives me that ability to run this as an asynchronous lesson, and I can see the feedback that you provide. You see also that Pear Deck has some other resources and supports available to teachers. But let's take a look at the way that this works. So you can go in and create a presentation, and when you do, that's going to pull up the PowerPoint that you use in the online browser version. I believe you can also use it with other presentations such as Google Slides, but make sure about that before you take my word for it. So this is a quick little how-to guide. You see that there's an add-in from the toolbar that you get, and so you have to add in this Pear Deck toolbar. And then there's also interactive slides that you can add from their library, or you can go in and pull actual slides in their resources sections that you can embed within your PowerPoint that are already pre-made. A lot of the ones that you saw within this presentation were they're pre-made ones that I just modified with my questions. And then the third part of it is you present with Pear Deck, and this is where you can control what the students see and when. If you do a teacher-led presentation, the presentation goes to their devices, and then they can interact with it on their own individual devices. You can paste the lesson, lock the screens, etc. Or you could set it up as an asynchronous meeting where they have access to log in and work through at their own pace. All right, so let's take a look here at what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a new slide. And I'm going to use my Pear Deck tools here. I could go to the template library and download some different templates, or I can immediately just put in a tool that I want to use. So let's say I want to embed a multiple choice question. I can go in and insert my choices, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, maybe add in another one. And I can update my slide. So you see down here at the bottom where it says students select an option. That's where they're going to be interacting, knowing that this is an interactive slide. I'm going to go ahead and put the question in the slide. And I think I'll ask, what is your favorite type of ice cream? All right, now you can go all out with PowerPoint and make it all interesting and visually appealing. Maybe throw in a graphic. All right, so what's my favorite type of ice cream? I'm going to take this bar and resize it. Maybe not. It didn't work the way I wanted it to, so we're just going to back that up. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've got my image. I've got my question. And this is a really bad looking slide, but that's okay. I'm just getting the idea across to you here. All right, so now I've got a question. There's some options. You can see that there's multiple choice options for the students to select from. And I'm going to present with Pear Deck. When I do that, I have the ability to choose whether this is a student-paced activity or if it's an instructor-paced. So I'll just go with the instructor-paced real-time activity here. And so my students would join with this code to connect in. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that from my device. So I'm going to go to joinpd.com on my cell phone so that you can see me. And I'm going to put in the code XRCRXZ. Okay, you can see that I have connected and I get a notification as a teacher that it's okay to start the class that I've got a student in. So I'm going to start the class. You'll see here is my presentation. And then my code is still posted for anybody that wants to join. But I'm going to advance to the next slide. And you see I have some different options here. I'm going to open up my teacher dashboard in the next slide. So this is my view. That's the student view. All right, and I'm going to advance to the next slide. And you'll see here that I am waiting on responses in my teacher dashboard. In my presentation, here's my slide that I'm presenting to the class. The students on their device see the slide and the ability to answer the question. I'm going to choose my favorite flavor of ice cream. And then you'll see on my teacher dashboard that I have one response, and that's me. So there's a lot of other features available, but this is just to kind of show you how this would work within a classroom. I can also say show responses, so I can show the responses to my students in the screen so they can see what the different responses were. Notice here in the student screen, it does not tell who responded in what way to kind of protect some of that privacy. I can also, as I'm presenting, add in a new prompt. Now, Pear Deck has some that are already put together. You can choose from different ones. I could even do a how much is this stressing you out, or draw or type 2 things that you learned. So you see this is my teacher presentation view, my dashboard that I would have off screen, maybe on my own device or on an extended desktop. Here's what's being presented to the class. And from my phone, I'm going to draw my response here. And it's going to be really bad because I'm doing it from my phone. But I'll just draw a little smiley face here and maybe a ice cream cone. Now you're really going to see how bad this gets. Okay, there. All right, so pop back over to the teacher dashboard. You can see here's what I showed to the class. Here are my responses, and when you have multiple students, you can see what they do and you can flip through. You can also give feedback to your students from this slide, as well as starring answers to say, hey, take a look at this. I can also hide their response. So if I wanted to use this in a classroom, This would help me to see what each of my students did. I can also sort it by student or by time. With only me in the class right now, that doesn't help much. But if I have more, I can use the grid layout to see all the different responses that I would get. All right, so those are just a handful of the features within Pear Deck. It's definitely something to take a look at. Try out that free trial and give it a shot with your classes. You might really find that it's a useful tool for your lessons.